Good morning, everybody. From a overnight hotel stop on the road in France. I hope I've got very shaky internet connection this morning. So anyway, let me get straight into it. Switch this off. There's a few things to talk about this morning. And I'm going to start off by, we'll come on to that, what's on the screen in a moment, but just sort of a couple of stories I've noticed that I think just worth mentioning, but not worth time on. There's one story about agents being worried about the ROPA regulation of property agents exams. I don't think there's any chance of this happening in the next few years. I wouldn't worry about those just yet, even if you have to worry about them at all, but I wouldn't say it's a worry yet. Shelter, the homelessness charity, has released a video horribly shaming agents, and Shelter does some good work for homeless people and helping to prevent it, but its PR is disastrous, and they've taken a horrible direct swipe at agents, letting agents in particular, and I don't think that's very good. It's yet another example of people just exploiting an old trope about estate agents that is rarely true. It may be occasionally true in very bad cases, but it makes them all look bad, and that's terrible. One of the new property websites has put out a story saying that agents made £39 billion in 2021, and it's total rubbish. It assumes an average fee of 1.5% plus VAT, their figures. But these Chuckle brothers are often known for massaging figures, shall we say, for their press release. They've just taken land registry figures of total property turnover last year, applied a 1.5% fee to it, and said that's how much agents earned. Rubbish. I honestly, with all of the agents and valuations that we're aware of, agents are very, very few agents are getting anywhere near 1.5% at the moment, but they should be. They definitely should be. But what I do want to talk about today is yesterday it was announced that the chief executive of Rightmove, Peter Brooks Johnson, I think his name is from memory, has announced that he's stepping down at the end of the year, at the end of their financial year. And their share price fell 7% on that news, which I thought was slightly surprising. But it got me thinking, and I did a tweet yesterday, what would happen if Rightmove just vanished overnight? What would actually happen? Who would be affected? I can't think of anybody. I mean, it's everything would continue as normal. People would still start their searches on Google, not Rightmove. We'd be missing a shop window that a lot of tire kickers use. But the number of people moving wouldn't change. The number of people contacting agents to move wouldn't change. The total number of leads received by agents wouldn't change. And when you think about that fact, right, that they are taking, in the last financial year, they took £300 million out of the industry in fees. That was their turnover, right? They're putting literally nothing back. They've just cornered an audience. But fine, they've done well. A successful business. Good luck to them on the business front. But in terms of what great is Peter Brooks' claim that Rightmove is continuing to make moving easier? No, it isn't. It never has, and nothing it's doing is making any difference to moving house. That's just rubbish. It's making money easier for its shareholders. That's all it does every year. Making money easier, not making moving easier. And I don't know. I just find that a difficult pill to swallow. £300 million a year, almost all of which is agent money, going to Rightmove's pockets in return for basically nothing other than the fact that they've cornered a market and people's expectations. But if Rightmove, this is how you know whether a business is actually adding value to people's lives or to an industry or not. If it disappeared overnight, would anyone care? Would it hurt? You know, I can think of lots of businesses that if they did disappear, yeah, it would make a real impact. If Rightmove disappeared overnight, it wouldn't hurt or affect any other shareholders and their staff. But for companies to be taking that much money out of the industry and not putting anything back, I don't know. It's not great. Excuse me, I have a sip of my lovely French coffee. How are you guys this morning? If you're watching, let me know what you think of what I'm saying in the comments or in the chat. But yeah, there are no stories in this. There are lots of quite interesting stories, but there are none that affect everyone except for this one on Estate Agent Today. Again, congratulations, Mark Schaffman, which, although not necessarily news, is a topic that I do think is something that affects everybody. And that is working hours. There we go. So the story on EAT is agents urged to embrace tech as demand grows for a shorter working week. And it talks about the blurred lines between work and home life. It talks about the fact that Val says that most of their valuation requests come before 8 o'clock in the morning and after 6 o'clock in the evening, which sounds totally believable. But it's saying that, that's outside working hours. So what about working hours as well? It makes it too long a day. I think that, as ever, the property industry is a little bit behind the time compared to the rest of the world, where flexible working is a much, much, much more commonplace thing. I mean, we do it at BestAgent. We all have totally flexible working hours. And digital nomads have been doing it for a long time. And I think that it's only really some pretty old-fashioned companies that still think you have to work office hours. Well, if there's no longer a need to work in an office, which arguably there's less of a need for all of us, especially estate agents, why work office hours? And this brings me on to my tip of the day. You can still work the same number of hours, but you can chop and change them around. And if the number of leads coming in is most between 7 and 8 in the morning and then 6 and 8 in the evening, and you therefore want to work those hours to be responsive to those leads, well, then take some time off during the day. It doesn't have to be you start work at this time, you finish work at that time, and that's the way it shall be. That's a bit of a Victorian industrial era, industrial era approach. If you worked in a factory, then maybe. But it is the consumer does expect response times outside normal working hours now. So get a couple of hours of great work done in the morning, and then take a couple of hours off in the morning. If your mental health is suffering, then you're flexible. If you have an employer that doesn't allow that, I would consider either saying or changing employer. But there's definitely a very large instance of agents working themselves to death, over hustling. You're all told you got to hustle. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not a way you want to live. You got to find a balance. So if working those strange hours is a requirement to be successful, then give yourself some time off during the day. And it's a harder thing to do than it sounds. You think, well, that sounds great, I'll do that. It's harder than you think to do it. You've actually got to put your phone away somewhere else and go and do something for yourself that has nothing to do with work. Don't use it doing other chores that you're behind on. Don't use it to catch up on other things. That's not work. You're still just working if you're doing that. So anyone who's suffering from burnout, overstress, overwork, over hustle in agency, but feels that you can't step back because you'll be losing out on business, I would find a time of the day that works best for you to switch off, even if it's for an hour, just an hour, but a solid, concrete hour when you do not answer the phone or respond to any messages. And you'll find that just doing that will make a massive difference to how you're feeling. Give yourself an hour a day. Go do some yoga, go for a walk, go and watch something on. I don't think watching screens is a good idea, but it's better than answering the phone. Anyway, guys, I have blabbered my way through 9 minutes again. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed that. Please share this with your friends in agency if you think it's interesting, and let me know what you think about what would happen if Rightmove just disappeared. Have a great day, and tomorrow I don't know where I'm going to be talking to you from. I've got a very uncertain day ahead of me today. Thanks, guys. Have a great one. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.